explained. If you want to grow on Instagram, you need to understand one thing. And we're talking about it on this show. This is how Instagram algorithm works. In this video, Megan and I are discussing Instagram's algorithm for creators and brands and several key factors on how to get more views on Instagram. We're revealing Instagram algorithm secrets and how to take advantage of Instagram's ranking system. And at the end of our convo, you'll have a better grasp of Instagram's algorithm fully explained so that you can move forward with it. So, as always, let's get into it today as we help you step your gram up on the latest episode of the Social Roundtable. Welcome, guys. We're so glad you are able to join us once again for another brand new episode of the Social Roundtable. Things might look a little different here today because I am joined by only my co-host today, no special guest. Well, although I consider Megan a special guest all the time, even though she's my co-host weekly. What's going on, Megan? How are you doing today?
Oh, well, hello. Oh, gosh. Things are going good. I am excited for this live. It is going to be a great topic. It's really the topic that everyone's talking about all of the time, right?
Yeah, I feel like no matter where you go, you can't escape the A word algorithm. It's always here, it's there. And honestly, no matter what platform you're speaking about, also, because this does apply to whether it's the T word, TikTok, or some of the other ones like YouTube. Sometimes they have things that are common on each platform. But Instagram, sometimes, I don't know about you, Megan, sometimes I feel like it's a different breed in itself. Like a whole different animal when it comes to learning about the algorithm. And we're going to get into it here today. It's just myself and Megan, as you guys can see on the screen. And as you also see on the screen, the title of this is Outsmarting the Algorithm. That's just our little slick title. But honestly, we're going to be showing this is how Instagram's algorithm really works. We're going to be answering a couple of questions. And if you guys have questions as well, please don't hesitate to send them into the live chat. We do have the live chat going on also. I see a few people already commenting, and I already have a poll set up for you guys if you guys are interested to jump in and answer the poll. Whether you're watching the replay or watching live, we appreciate you being here, and we're going to get into it right now. So, Megan, are you ready to get into this conversation? I feel like we got a lot to share about it.
Oh, I am beyond ready. Yes, I know. Like I said, this is a juicy subject people love to hear about. So we're going to reveal exactly how it works.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. No more delay. Let's talk about the Instagram algorithm and how it actually really works. So let's start off with what might be considered a simple question, but not really by any degree, because, like I said on the top, we've all heard this term before. We've heard it hundreds of times since the introduction of social media, if you ask me, since any of the platforms, even taking it back to the days of MySpace. And I don't think we'll ever hear the end of it. I'm talking about the word algorithms. It's algorithm this, algorithm that, algorithm good, algorithm bad. Well, we're going to get into it a lot more today because, to be honest, I don't think most truly understand exactly what the algorithm is, Megan. So I want to ask you this quick first question. What is the Instagram algorithm?
Yeah, you're right. Simple question, but not so simple. Ultimately, the algorithm is what determines the content that we see on our feed, what we come across on our explore page, on our stories lineup, on our home feed, our friends feed, as well as who sees our content, all of our content, and what ranking system is really used to allow us to either be shown to people or not.
I think that's a perfect way to break it down. You know how I like to do? I like to use AI every now and again, and I happen to use Gemini to kind of. I wanted an AI's description of what it thinks the algorithm is. So I actually asked Google Gemini this same question, and it gave me an interesting response. And read it out for you guys right now. This is from Google Gemini. Instagram's algorithm is actually a complex system of different algorithms, not one single one, that determines the order of content shown to users in sections like the feed, stories, reels, and explore page. And I'm going to go back a little bit later to a little bit more of what Google Gemini has shared, but I feel like this is pretty much verbatim what you said in your own terms, Megan, that it is not one algorithm, it is a number of different algorithms, and they're all working together to, as I like to kind of say, is trying to provide the a governing body over the platform.
Mm,
It's a set of rules. Some of it we know, some of it we may not, because Instagram is not going to give all of the bread and butter away. They're not going to give us all of the secrets. But there's some rules that we are aware of, and we know that if we do something, we might get a slap on the hand. If we do something else, that's even a little bit further, we might get possibly an account suspended, action blocked. People might call it shadow ban. There's different repercussions for certain things that we do, but the algorithm is there to kind of keep us in line, as well as help us in our everyday use of Instagram. I mean, was there anything else that you think that we should add in regard to the definition of the Instagram algorithm?
that's a really good description for sure. I think one more thing to note is that you might see content often that says, "Oh, the Instagram algorithm changed." And it's true, right? There people aren't lying, but the
Yeah.
thing is it's true because the Instagram algorithm is changing literally every day because it is so many different algorithms working together with so many different signals and factors that the Instagram's tweaking it every single day. So it's getting more perfected to help us get shown to the right people and help the right people see us, and for us to see the right people we want to see every day. So that's just know that it's not like they don't come out in waves of changes. Maybe it feels like that, but really it's changing every day.
Yeah, only their features come out in waves, and you never know when those happen. But I completely agree. The algorithm makes a bunch of small changes, and even Mosseri, the head of Instagram, has stated once before that they're pretty much changing every day, but it's so small that we don't really see its effect until I think he's mentioned the only time you really see a major change is really around holidays, and it's really geared towards
Mm,
how the algorithm responds to trends around the holidays. Like if around Mother's Day, you definitely see more Mother's Day posts. Around Christmas, you see more Christmas related content. That's just kind of we expect that nowadays. It's not like on Halloween, I expect to see Christmas posts. The algorithm is smart enough to keep up with the type of posts that we should be seeing. But yeah,
mhm,
I think we can move forward now that we actually fully define what the algorithm is. And you can even take some of those concepts and, like I said earlier, apply it to some of the other platforms, whether it's YouTube, TikTok. They share common similarities, but they are unique in some of the ways that they work. And I want to kind of get into that right now because there are some major differences in regards to how the Instagram algorithm works. So I'm going to go to Megan to talk a little bit more exactly about how does Instagram algorithm work. And luckily, we were planning to talk about this, and she actually had a visual, an infographic already created that highlights and gives you guys a great idea visually of how the Instagram algorithm works. So Megan is going to answer. I'm going to get the image on the screen right now as we get into that. But that's what we're going to be discussing right now. How does Instagram's algorithm work? And whether it's good and bad in regards to what might happen in the future or how we actually put out our content.
mm. Yes, for sure. Okay. So, as you'll see here, when Hessing pulls that image up, the algorithm, this is very generalized. Okay. This picture is showing you an overall idea. But do note that different types of engagement on a piece of content are going to help push a piece of content out either more or less based on how much weight that piece of engagement really has in the algorithm. So, for example, a like versus a send or um, repost or comment, or how long somebody views, like the view duration, all of these different engagement types are going to have different weight on whether or not your post gets pushed out. You can see you share a post. So this is again general. So this is going to be just, for example, a carousel. Say you created a carousel, shared it, hit post, cool. So that's the first step here. And then Instagram's going to take that post and put it out near the top of the feed of the followers that you currently have who usually engage, the ones who check in on your content more often or are likely to comment or send your content to someone. They spend time on your content, on your account. So Instagram, that's their first step. And then from there, if that first subset of people engage again, Instagram's going to either say, "Yay, they engaged, so let's push it out to that next ripple of people, which would be some of the followers that maybe engage here and there, maybe some non-followers who are interested in similar topics that you're posting about. And it just keeps going on in waves. So the more that people, it gets shown to a new subset of people, if they engage, the more it gets pushed out. If they engage, the more it gets pushed out, and so on.
And it's funny because it sounds like almost, I don't want to say like too much of a pyramid scheme, but it's almost like the same, even as you look at this visual on the screen, it kind of has that same element. It starts from the top and then you're showing it to a select few. I've always said I believe that it shows it like to your 15, your not 15, 5% of your audience, but those that are really high engaging. Those are the ones that probably engaged on your last few posts. Let's say you put out 3 posts prior, those are the ones that probably engage with those. So maybe like 5% of your audience. It's usually probably a lot smaller. But if they engage with this also new piece of content, then as Megan said, it's going to just expand their reach. And if it continues doing that, you reach a certain threshold where we like to call viral, because at a certain point it's going to go beyond the amount of followers that you have. It's going to go start reaching more people that you are not connected with directly, and that's when the content really continues to like really fuel its reach. The more and more people engage with it, it's the more and more likely that it's just going to keep on going on until the point where it just kind of expires. There's going to be a certain limit, whether it's based on time, based on interest. I mean, if you want to take this the same example with Mother's Day, let's just say it's Mother's Day and we've seen all of this great content and somebody really puts out a really nice, heartfelt Mother's Day post. Well, that's not going to last, 2 weeks after Mother's Day. We're most likely not going to see it because our interest has dropped down in regards to that topic. So it gets less engagement. So that means when the Instagram algorithm puts it out to more and more people, they're not really going to see it or engage with it as much because it's no longer Mother's Day. Now we're probably looking ahead for Father's Day in June, the next following month. So we got to understand how the Instagram algorithm works in this aspect, because we can actually utilize it in really incredible factors for our benefit. And we're going to get into that in a moment. That'll be our next topic. But looking at this visual here, first off, thank you so much, Megan, for sharing this with us, because it's very easy to understand. Basically, when you put out a piece of content, they either engage or they don't. And it shows you a really great path in regards to how the algorithm responds to either scenario and situation. I think what we should do, Megan, I didn't really think about this beforehand. Hopefully, I'm not putting you too much on the spot, but I think we should share this image maybe on the IG story later today,
Hmm.
so that people can get it. Um, and if you want, maybe we'll actually share a link to it as well in the comments also. We'll do that also. So if you guys want more information in regards to this visual of how the Instagram algorithm works, we'll take care of you guys. And as I say that, let me hit this reminder. If you guys are enjoying this conversation for myself and Megan here today, like I said, things are a little bit different. No guests here today. It's just me and Megan, and we're talking about the Instagram algorithm. And if you're enjoying the conversation, please don't forget to hit the like button and follow. I'm sorry, not follow, subscribe to our respective channels so you can get more content like this. We go live every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this very live series, the Social Roundtable. So we hope that you become a regular viewer. As I see some of you guys are in the live chat, there's a few people that I recognize that are always here. We definitely appreciate your support and look forward to you joining us live or in the replay. So hit the like button and hit that subscribe button as well for more content like this. Is there anything else before we go on to the last question, Megan, that you wanted to add in regards to this infographic?
Just a reminder that this is like the general, like you make a post, but this is very similar outline for all those different pieces we talked about earlier. So a different algorithm of a reel, that's going to be weighed differently than a story, than a regular carousel. And there's lots of different signals within this big general idea.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's also going to feed into our next question, probably with that same exact keyword that you just mentioned, signals. So before I get to that question, I just want to kind of identify what signals are. When we hear of that, signals are pretty much certain factors that the algorithm factors that it considers, it plays a part in. Megan kind of mentioned a few of them, such as relevancy, and I think one also, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, Megan, but relationship. in regards to
Mhm.
who the person is that actually shared the post and the person that views it. Are you a follower or are you just simply a viewer? All of those things and several other factors definitely play a role in regards to how the content is seen, when the content is even seen as well, and other several things also. But we're going to talk a little bit more in regards to that right now because our last question in regards to this topic of Instagram algorithm, I want to ask you, Megan, and then I'll follow up right after. Um, how can we, as content creators, business owners, anybody that's working on Instagram that wants to actually put out content and get it seen, how can we work with the algorithm and not against it?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of things we can do. Unfortunately, the algorithm is so smart at understanding what type of content to feed you. It struggles, I think, to feed your content to the right people sometimes because there's so much content out there. And so it's a lot easier for Instagram to, especially the relationship factor that you said, um, show you content based on all of the actions you take on the platform.
Mhm.
It's really focused in on how you show up, like what you like to do on the platform, even to the point that it shows you certain styles or formats of posts over others. Like if you personally consume a lot of carousels, you go to your explore page, you're probably going to see more carousels than someone who only really consumes reels. So, were you gonna say something, Heston?
No, no, no. I was going to say I fully agree with that. I think I even certain times I've had my phases where I like a lot of carousels, and I've noticed I see less reels. So you're right on. You're right on point with
Mm.
that.
Yeah, and so when you were saying relationship, that was such an important signal that I completely forgot, so thank you, that's really important. So if you'll notice, I see this, like, on my personal page a lot, not so much my business one, but Um, if I'm on my explore page, my explore page is like travel or like hair and makeup or dogs. Like that's it. For my personal page. And so I always see like really cute dog videos or really cool travel places. And as soon as I click on it, my husband has liked it. My husband has engaged with it. And it's because him and
Mm.
I are in the DMs sending like content to each other all of the time. So he's always sending me dog videos, he's always sending me travel stuff. And so it's saying, hey, Instagram's going, you guys usually talk about this stuff. So I could send you or show you on your explore page random travel and dog stuff, but I know that you usually like the stuff that this other person likes that you communicate with a lot. So it's huge. Our relationships and how we engage with others is going to really factor in what we see for new content and how frequent we see that type of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very big on relationships. I'm like a relationship guru when it comes to Instagram because I like to spark or start that initial relationship. As you guys know, I work with Manychat, DM automation, and that's a really great way if you want to like spark a relationship. Get people to DM you, whether it's direct DM or through IG stories is an amazing way. If you get somebody to comment a keyword, but it doesn't even have to be a keyword set up. If you put up a poll, instead of using the poll sticker, maybe just ask them to comment their answer to the poll. And that's a message, that's a DM that's sent to you, and you kick off a relationship that way. Or if you do use the poll, make sure you respond back to them. Say, hey, why did you vote this? Or you start some other type of conversation. It really does help to establish a relationship to the point where the algorithm now looks at it as, hey, these two know each other, let me start showing them each other's content. Because if you ever realize when you follow somebody for the first time, or if you recently DM somebody that you haven't spoke to in a while, I'm sure this happens to you, Megan. When you contact them, it's like all of a sudden now you start seeing a lot more of their content on Instagram. You start seeing it in the feed. You start seeing their IG story, the little profile image. And now they move a little bit closer to the
Mhm.
beginning. It's weird how the algorithm works, but it's really because there's these several factors that it picks up on based on engagement, as you said, Megan.
Yeah, for sure. And So going back to this question of how do we make it work with us and not against us, is making sure that you are extremely clear and consistent on what you're posting about, because every little thing that you're doing is adding up inside the algorithm, and the Instagram algorithm is starting to take all of these actions into consideration when they are trying to determine, do I show this piece of content to somebody new or to your current followers? Do they usually enjoy this type of stuff? And it used to be a big rumor, and I actually believed this, that, so I'm calling myself out here, that it, like, how you engage, if I engage with random hair and makeup stuff on my business page, which is about social media and marketing, um, that it's going to downgrade my content. It's not going to show my content to people who
Mm,
care about social media. But that's not true. The only thing that I can see a big negative with that is that if I myself start to engage more with that hair and makeup stuff, I'm just not spending as much time engaging with my other people in my niche. So I'm not building the relationships that might pay off. I might not
yeah.
be seen in their comments. I might not have that connection. So that's maybe a negative thing. But overall, like, your how you're engaging is not going to affect if your content gets shown to new people. It's all about what those new people are interested in, what they're engaging with, who they're connected with. So overall there could be a negative, but ultimately you're free to, use Instagram how you want to use it. It's just really making sure your content is clear and consistent, using SEO, making sure you're using the keywords,
Yes.
making sure that your design even looks not similar, like you're not copying everyone, right? But if there is a carousel and you're seeing that all kinds of carousels in your niche are huge text on that first slide, that's probably a good sign that Instagram's liking that right now. The people that you want to see your content like that right now. If they're doing more of the photos with the text over it, Instagram's liking it right now. Your people are consuming content like that right now. So don't change everything based on that, but do take it into consideration.
Yes, very. I agree 1,000% with everything you said, and especially taking things into consideration. You don't want to completely change these things just because even the fact that we're saying you have to do this, you have to do that. It's not a have to.
Mm-mm.
These are all options. They're, as I say, rules are meant to be broken sometimes, but it really depends on how you're going to be using it. I'm not saying go against the terms and conditions. I'm not saying that. Don't
Right.
put me on that list right there. But go ahead and test things, see how they work, utilize different strategies that myself and Megan are suggesting to you. Some may work for others, some might it might not work as great for. But when you move forward and have a better understanding of ultimately how the algorithm works, you're more free to try new things to see how it works with your audience. I've heard this person say before, it was actually applied to YouTube, but I think it applies to all platforms. When you hear people say um, they want to focus on the algorithm, what they really mean is they want to focus on the audience.
Mhm.
It's really the audience, because when we look at all of these rules, all of these factors that the algorithm is based on, it's all based on engagement from an audience. And the audience at the end is the one that determines if the content that is being shown to them is good or not. And that's by liking it, by commenting it, sharing it. Nowadays, we have reposts. So if they repost it, all of these forms of engagement determines if that content is good. And the
Mm.
algorithm looks at that and says, this has been determined as good quality content because the audience responds to it well. Let me show it to more and more people. I think at the end of the day, one of the things we have to realize, the algorithm is not against us. I hear that so often, Megan, that it really makes me sick sometimes. The algorithm is not against us, no matter what might happen, because ultimately, Instagram is a business. They're out to make money, and that algorithm is there to help them because that algorithm is there to satisfy users. Look at a formula like this: if the algorithm could help satisfy users, they're on the platform longer. The longer they're on the platform is the more ads they see. The more ads that people see, the more money Instagram makes. And it just cycles and cycles. At the end of the day, I hate to say it, but this is business. Everything's about commerce, and Instagram is out to make money. Despite how they make certain features look, though they tell you that it's best for you, at the end of the day, it comes back to money. Certain features get cut off, and it's because it's not making money. Certain features are introduced because it can make them more money. But if you can satisfy the algorithm in a way that the audiences like it and it helps Instagram to get people stay on the app, you are going to be treated with more reach, more engagement, and ultimately possibly somewhere along the lines, even content that goes viral.
Yep, 110%. I mean, I think I've done multiple different like quote graphics of like audience over engagement. The audience is audience over algorithm. The audience shapes your algorithm, like you shape your algorithm. And so something to note about that, and this is not a blanket statement. I don't even know if I should say it, but it's just something to kind of consider. If you're in the realm of, maybe your niche is a heavier topic, like it's heavy education, it's heavy tutorial, it's business, or just things that people have to really use their brain a lot. um, you can kind of give yourself a little grace, because a lot of people are on this platform to zone out, to pass time, to
Yes.
enjoy, get entertained.
Mhm.
So that's not going to be a direct correlation of your stuff not getting shown to new people all the time. By all means, there are people out there who crush it, who have really intense content, but it's really because their content's really, really good and they're building the right
Mhm.
community. But if you're struggling because you're seeing like, wow, this, random influencer who does like funny skits, who doesn't actually provide value, is crushing it. They're doing so good. And I'm putting so much work into my content and I'm really changing people's lives. It's not getting shown to as many people. Give yourself a little grace, because people are on the app for different reasons. And that, it just might be a little slower, or it might mean that you have to take a step back and look at different parameters. What does success look like? It maybe isn't 100,000 views. Maybe it is 1,000 views.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that. It's more you're defining success and you're not letting the public or other people's success define your own. And I think that,
Mhm.
it goes back to that phrase. You're looking at somebody who might be on chapter 10 of their journey complaining because you're on chapter 1, but you don't realize you guys aren't on the same chapter. So you're like, "Hey, how come I'm not getting those views? Why am I not getting that much engagement?" It's because that person's probably been there for maybe 2 years before you. That person might also be buying engagement, but we don't know. Instead of focusing on what that other person is doing, focus on you. And as you're saying, Megan, just define your own success, define what you're capable of, because you might have less hours than that other person to put in the
Mm.
effort. You never know. Do what you're capable of, and I think that it's the best way to just move forward in life. Whether it's social media or not, do what you're best capable of doing, because you're only really battling yourself. At the end of the day, you're trying to compete with yourself, not everybody else, because there's always going to be somebody else better than you outside. But when you look
Mhm.
at what you're capable of, if you could do better than the person than yourself yesterday, I think that's a good way to kind of look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree with that. And understanding that um, if you really want to give yourself as much bang for your buck when it comes to increasing that engagement and really helping the algorithm love your content, you've got to, one, listen to what your community is saying. If you share a piece of content and it really flops, but the one you shared yesterday did really great, take the time to look at why. What was different? Was it the topic? Was it the way it looked, like the aesthetics? Was it the way you spoke in it? Was it the format? Like there's so many different things to look at. And we can't pinpoint it to one thing ever. There's usually multiple factors, but you've got to take the time to really listen to your audience. What did they like? What did they not like? Take into consideration also like the seasons. So, people are going back to school right now. Summer was kind of slow for a lot of people because people are out doing things. People are on their phone more when it's, well, here, at least in the States, when it starts to get colder and people are just, scrolling, or they are commuting more to and from school, whatever it might be. So people consume different It's not always the algorithm. Sometimes it's just the fact that, people are busy. And then
Yes,
also
indeed.
start to understand what those signals, which signals really weigh more. So, like we were saying in the beginning, that view rate, so how long somebody stays on your content, is super important. That's more important than a
Mhm.
like, right? A like is great,
Yes.
that's helpful, but it's not going to be as impactful. So, what can you do in your content to keep somebody on it longer? Or shares. So important. We talk about this all the time, right, Heston?
Oh yeah.
um, and how important it is to get shares. What content can be shareable? Focus on these things. It's really going to help give you the best bang for your buck. Stop posting just for likes and start to look at those other forms of engagement.
Awesome way to end this conversation all about Instagram algorithm. I feel like we even went a little too deep at a certain point. We're about to start getting very philosophical on this episode of the Social Roundtable. But I think everything that we kind of covered and shared here today is really things that you guys can start doing immediately. They're nothing that's too tasking. They don't cost money. These are just making small changes to your current content strategy and the way that you look at Instagram from a point of view of who are you creating content for. Even as Megan said, you have to realize certain factors. It might be based on the season. One of our guests, one of our viewers, even Greg has said summer is his busiest period. Well, that might be true for him and then the opposite for others. So you have to determine that as well. Because if I was looking at his content, I might be like, well, why is he getting all of this great engagement? Mine is, looking like the slumps. It's because he knows his audience. He knows when they're most busy and he's probably putting out more content at that point. So he plays into it and is taking advantage of the algorithm around his content. And I think that's a great way to look at it. So we shared our answers, Megan, to these important questions, all about Instagram algorithm.
Can I ask
Hopefully,
a
you
question
guys
actually?
watching. Sure, absolutely.
I had a question. I was just thinking about this. Knowing that shares are so important, we kind of talked about this um, the last couple of weeks when we were talking about reposts, but I just had this
Yeah.
like realization. So I'm curious for your perspective, Heston. Do you have any input or thoughts on how heavy reposts are going to impact the person who reposts it? So I reposted a very, very viral carousel from another
Hmm.
creator, and I'm getting notifications. I did that like 3 weeks ago. I'm still to this day getting notifications. So and so liked your reposted post about that other person's carousel. How do you think that's impacting the people who follow me who liked it? Do you think my content's now going to be showing up more frequently in their feed too? Because technically they
That is
engaged with
a
something I did.
great question. I have to admit, I've never considered it from that point of view because with the announcement of the repost, we've always been kind of looking at it from it's now great from the original creator. They're now getting credit from that post being shared once again and getting the credentials. But how would it affect the person that reposted? Um, I'm of two minds of this. First of all, I think definitely the person of the original content would be the biggest benefactor in regards
Mhm.
to the engagement because their content, let's just say originally they put it out and it only reached 1,000 people. If 10 of those people send it out to another 1,000 people, but then that's now 10,000 people that this piece of
Mhm.
content has now went out to when it was extremely limited prior. So most of the benefit would go to them. But of those 10, let's say you're one of them that put it out to 1,000 people. Does that mean your followers now see more of your content because you reposted somebody else's? I'm of the mind to say no, but I have to admit I don't have anything evident wise to say why I'm basing on it. I haven't seen the numbers. And that would be a really great study or experiment to figure out. I don't even know how you would experiment to do that because there's so many different factors that's out of your control. But
Yeah, I know.
I
You're
almost
right.
kind
Because
of
they're,
hope not though.
mm,
The reason why I say I hope not is because I could see people creating accounts where all they do is repost, and it ends up we're in the same boat where people were illegally taking it. Now they're just creating accounts where it's only reposts because they're getting a great amount of engagement from it.
mm, yeah. Which I don't know why people would do that, because then they're not even like getting the chance to be monetized, or like nobody even cares about their content. But people would do it. Yeah, people would do it,
Yeah.
and then also I would hope that people don't think that, and then still create their content or whatever, they're still doing it, but they only really repost viral things instead of the things they actually care about, the things they actually want to share. Because like we talked about last week, reposts can be so valuable to showcase your values and what you
Yeah.
like for your audience. So I hope people don't just do that. It's just an idea. I thought, like, I'm still getting notifications from this, and I'm like, are people even noticing that I was the one that reposted it? And if so, are they then taking that action to go to my page? I haven't seen a huge increase in any, like, my views and profile visits, so I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to follow up with. Maybe we should figure out some form of experiment that we could determine that, because um that would be really just to get those numbers, whether it proves us right or wrong. I think that would be really interesting to look
Hmm.
into. And I'm all about more tests. The more tests we
Yes.
do is the more that we learn how this Instagram algorithm actually works.
I know.
They
Every
haven't really
single week
shared too much about reposts yet as far as the algorithm.
they haven't. I know. I know. I'm very excited to see when they will. However, I feel like it did take years for them to finally explain other parts of the algorithm, so we'll
Yeah.
see.
They're working on it. They're working on it. We'll see what they release. It's always something new. I feel like by the time we get off this live right now, it'll be a brand new feature that we gotta go and figure out how the algorithm works with. But
Always.
nonetheless, we're talking about the ones that exist now. And our conversation was all about that. I hope you didn't miss any part of it, but if you did, not a problem. If you're catching the replay, just rewind, catch it from the beginning. If you're watching live, we definitely appreciate you being here talking about the Instagram algorithm here today on the Social Roundtable. Once again, if you are not subscribed to our respective channels, please go ahead, hit that big subscribe button and join our channel, join our respective communities, so you would never miss an episode of the Social Roundtable, which occurs every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself, Megan. And usually, unlike today, usually we have a special guest, one of your favorite content creators, business owners, or more, joining us on a discussion. Today, we kind of went solo. We wanted to really get into the meat and the nitty gritty in regards to the Instagram algorithm. And we're hoping to have a guest next week to join us on another interesting topic that we got lined up, because I think you guys are going to have a really special treat next week. So stay tuned for that. Usually we have a guest, as I said, Megan, and we play a little game. We're not playing a game today. So usually we go to Q&A. I will ask now on the screen if you guys have any questions. Please share them in the live chat. I've already got one question that I really want to speak on that's in my live chat, because I'm going to reveal something I'm working on. But if you guys have any questions, any follow up from our discussion, or anything else related to Instagram, whether it's the algorithm or not, please go ahead, go into the live chat and share it now if you're watching live. If you're watching the replay, you can still do the same thing. Just go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll get back to answer it. Um, so Megan, I had put in the live chat as we were speaking if anybody had any questions. Unfortunately, Greg, one of our common or regulars to the show, he had a question, but he had to leave, unfortunately. So he won't hear this question answered live. But it's a good question because I have a lot of to talk and share about it. So Greg's question, let me see if I can find it here. Um, where did he put it? Did it go? All right, I got it. Does cleaning out your Instagram unwanted followers help your engagement and etc.? Good question, because this is something I see common. I see it asked in different ways, whether I should remove inactive followers, whether I should remove ones that I could tell are fake, the
Hmm.
bots. Let's be real. There's a lot of bots out there on Instagram. In Meta in general, I saw Meta put out a quote this week and said that they only have, I think they said 4% of their audience are fake. I'm like, that sounds like BS. That is BS.
No.
It's got to be double digits as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But is it wise to remove these accounts in an effort to help improve engagement? I want to know what you think about this, Megan.
Okay. I think I know your answer, so I'm not going to shape mine based on that. But ultimately, yes, it can help you. because, say instead of 1,000 people, if you remove 100 of them, because 100 of them are not truly interested in your content, then yes, you have a smaller sample size. So those people are more likely to engage, which then out of that 900, if you have 400 of them that engage with your stuff, you're just a little bit better than if you had 1,000 and you had 400 of them engage with your stuff. So
Mhm.
yes, I do think so, but I usually will caveat that with, if you're already really stressing and you don't have enough time to create content consistently, or not engaging with your current community, you don't have systems set up that are already allowing you to do the basics of showing up with good content consistently, do not spend time cleaning out a bunch of followers. But if you have the time, then yes, it can be helpful. Yeah. And it also is going to depend on where you're at in your goals and what you are looking to achieve. So if it's that deeper community, or if it's more of the wide reach, then, are you focused on the type of content you're creating, or are you focused on the, the community you already have, and really making sure that's as strong as possible? And both are going to be very valid at different times of your Instagram journey.
Yeah, ditto, ditto. I'm not even gonna like go into more of the details of that what you just responded, but I mean I completely agree, and I can see both parts in regards to it. So I want to reveal, and I think I've had shared this with you, Megan, in regards to a project or this long overdue. I should say long overdue, but long effort task that I've started. So at the moment, right now, I have just over 10,000 followers. And a few months ago, I decided to take on the task of going through each and every single one, kind of like I'm auditing my followers to determine if they're active, if they are active, how active they are. I've determined if they speak a different language. Like there's certain factors that I've been actually monitoring or taking recording. I literally have an Excel sheet with all 10,000 followers listed. And I showed you guys how to get this sheet. I got it from Instagram, a CSV file. You could go in there. If you want this information on how to get a list of your own followers, I'll let you know how to do it. Just DM me. But I got the list directly from Instagram, and it was at 10,000 then. It's a little bit more now because I've been updating it since I got it. And I've been going through. Megan, I am at, as of today, no, as of maybe tomorrow, I would have done or audited 9,000 of 10,000 of my followers on the list. So I am at the crossing line. I am nearly there. I am nearly done.
Wow.
And I can't wait. I don't know if I should do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something I wasn't planning on doing. I'm going to show you guys some of the numbers if I can, because my screens are a little bit crazy. Or maybe I might have to read it to you. So like I said, I've been going over 10,000 of these. I'm going to get my screen ready
That's crazy.
to
While you're
show you guys.
while you're doing that, yeah, I just, yes, and you told me that a while ago, and I was like, that's insane. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you would, be able to do that. And that's a perfect example though, because Heston, was working hard, showing up consistent, and creating really good content for a while, that then he was like, okay, let's go in and like really look at these followers. And Heston is always, I mean, you're always someone who comes to me at every meeting that we have, and I love it so much. You're like, I'm going to do another test. You love to look at the numbers. You like to look at, why things work, why they don't work, and shift things strategically and not random. So if you have this mindset that Heston does, I mean, it can I can give you a lot of value, and I'm excited to see all the stuff you get from that.
Let me give you guys a little bit of warning though. I have 10,000 followers and I feel like that's a lot. I would not advise us to do it if you have more than 10,000. I would not give this task to Megan, who has well over 100K subscribers. That it's taken
Even
me with 10,000 followers. I think it's been about 3 months, 3 or 4 months. It's taken me. So I
wow.
could only imagine what it would look like with 100K plus.
Yeah. And you are committed at doing it too, consistent. So that's crazy.
All right, so I'm gonna pull it up. I'm not gonna show it because it has people's usernames. So for privacy's sake, I won't show the names yet, but what I will show you is that as I was going through it, I've been, because it's on Excel, actually Google Sheet, I've been creating formulas to figure out what percentage of my audience is this or that, or how many people. I've even gotten it down. I did it yesterday where I know how many accounts have maybe between 500 to 1,000 followers, or 1,000 to 2,500. I've broken it down to that. So some of the interesting things, and this, we kind of went off topic now, but I am going to be sharing all of the details probably next month in a series. But some of the things I've discovered, like I said, right now I'm at just shy of 9,000 followers. Only 5,000 of them are active.
Mm.
Only
Wow.
5,000 are active. I have about just about 4,000, just under 4,000 are inactive. 1,500 of them all speak different languages. I'm sorry, are private. 1,500 are private. So
Mm.
I can't even see their content.
Right.
600 of them speak different languages. And for whatever reason, I got to figure this out. There are some accounts that are listed that when I go to their page, it says unavailable. I don't know what that means just yet. I haven't taken the time to really study it, but I have about 500 of those. So
Mm.
I right now I'm of the mind of thinking maybe when I got the list, those
Mhm.
were suspended perhaps. Maybe those were left alone for a long time and Instagram has reclaimed the username, but nobody else has claimed it back. I'm not sure. I have to dig into that. But it is quite a lot of those because there's no content. You don't even see you don't even see their username or follower account. It just says
Yeah.
unavailable account.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've been able to break down the numbers, and it's been really interesting to see like how many people are still active. Um, and I've broken down like how many people have posted. Like the last post was in 2023. I have a few people whose posts were like in 2020, in 2016, 2018. Some that's their last post.
Wow.
So those
Wow. Yep.
obviously were considered inactive. And then, like I said, I broke down even how many accounts have a certain amount of followers. So I'm going to be sharing all of this information, Megan, because I think that with it's just so funny. I have 10,000 followers and everybody's actually going for 10,000. Like that's the goal. I honestly want to break it down and use this as the perfect time. So I want to kind of prove you don't need 10,000 followers.
Mm.
I've already
Mhm.
told you, I think to me, the biggest thing from this is saying that half of these people aren't even active,
Yeah.
and that's
Definitely.
just, I've noticed a lot of people have fell off after 2021 with their account. And I think that's just due to the way the world was. I have noticed a big number in regards to that point in time. But there are certain factors, when we say we want 10,000 followers, and it's like, okay, you got there. Have you? Like, I have 10,000 followers, and half of them aren't even active. And then the
Yeah.
others, let's just say it's another 5,000. I know for a fact they're not seeing my content.
Mhm. That's
So I'm going to break
crazy.
it down further. Yeah.
And that makes me think. So when you go into somewhere in your Instagram, I should know this, but like somewhere in your followers, you can see Instagram will show you how many are inactive. And I think last time I looked, I
Yeah.
had like almost 3,000 it called inactive. And I know that's just not true. If you have that, 4,000 mark, that just doesn't even make sense. Like, what does Instagram consider inactive? Because maybe these people in my followers are active, like they're there, but they're not actually consuming and engaging. They just kind of open up the app every so often,
Yeah. Yeah, I
which,
think there's a lot of that.
yeah.
There's a
Hmm.
lot of that. I feel like there's a lot of people. Let me see if I look now. Like, let's just say for last year, I've noticed last year a lot of people that was their last post, 2024. But I
Yeah.
think they're of the kind of that you're stating that they have the account, they haven't posted, but maybe they're the lurkers. They're in the
Hmm.
IG stories. They're more probably engaging in other people's content rather than posting their own. So
Yeah.
who's to say?
Hmm. Definitely. That's, well, I
Me
mean, kudos to you for doing this and all the work that you're putting into it. Very exciting. And I'm excited to see what you really get from it at the end there.
Yes. Well, I think I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to publicize this information. I might actually make the worksheet available for the public, but I'll take out people's names. If
Mm-hmm.
that might help, if people are interested in that, I might be able to do that. But anyway, we went off on a wild tangent in regards to that question. Thank you very much, Greg, who just like dropped a bomb into the chat room and left.
I know, right? I'm gonna watch them just clean this up later.
Anyways, guys, we definitely appreciate your presence here. I didn't see any more questions in the live chat, so we'll pretty much call it an end here. This was our latest episode of the Social Roundtable titled "This is how Instagram algorithms really work," and I think it was a really great in-depth conversation with you, Meg, in regards to how it works. We even had the illustration. Once again, guys, if you guys missed any part of this, please go ahead and check it out from the beginning. Lots of great details that you guys can move forward with and step your gram up the best way possible. We're going to end it off here. If you have anything else, last words you want to say, Megan, in regards to what you're working on, where people can find you, anything?
Oh, no, I'm good. I am just plugging away one day at a time right now with craziness of life and always on Instagram. So come say hi there and excited for our next live. How about you, Heston? I know you have exciting things going on.
I'm always doing something, whether it's one of these crazy tests, auditing everybody that followed me. I don't even know why I put myself through these things sometimes. But what I am working on, or what people should be aware of, today's the last day. I don't know when you guys are watching this video, but today, the 8th of September, is the last day for you to get the very special launch offer of my brand new Manychat Skool. It's available right now for a very, I don't even want to say the price, because if it's seen late and people get it, unfortunately, that's just what it is. But if you have the opportunity right now, if you're watching this live, go ahead, check it out. The link is actually in the description, as well as all of our contact information. If you want to go and follow Megan or subscribe to her channel as well as mine, all of the links are in the bottom. But I am very glad and proud of this new Manychat Skool that I've created on skool.com. So if you're interested to learn about DM automation, Manychat, all of that to kind of make your lives easier with chat marketing, go ahead and check it out and act fast. Act fast. It's a very special
Yes.
offer. Anyways,
Awesome.
guys, thank you
Awesome.
so much for joining us today. We had a great conversation as always. And as Megan said, we are so excited to see you guys next week. Next week, Monday, I believe that is the 15th. Yes. I had to like do the math in my head. I'm good at math.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. This is all these tests that
All
you run
right.
all the time.
I know, right? Anyways, guys, you have a great one. We enjoyed your presence here today. If you're watching the replay or watching it live, leave a comment, and we're looking forward to you guys next week. Until then, take care, guys.
Bye.